Hello everyone and welcome to the Well of Curiosity. Now normally in this series I get you to suggest topics and questions for me to talk about, but for this episode I have chosen one of my own. And you could probably tell from the title we're going to be talking about space rocks. Now I promise you it is more exciting than it sounds, so please stay with me and don't disappear off into the internet. Now I'm sure that some of you have heard of a few different types of space rocks over your lives, so during this episode we're going to discuss the differences between them, sorting out the asteroids from the comets, the meteors and the meteorites. And hopefully I'm going to impart a few hints and tips, so if you want to go foraging for your very own space rocks in the future, you know what to look out for. So, if you're ready, let us begin. So let's start off with the big one, asteroids. Now, asteroids will be big chunks of rock hurtling through space. There are millions of them across our solar system. Most of them are in a region in between Mars and Jupiter that we call the asteroid belt. Now, a lot of scientists will have slightly different answers when it comes to how big a rock needs to be called an asteroid. But most of the time, their answer will be at least 10 meters in diameter. But you will find some asteroids out there that are so much bigger. Rocks that are the size of entire cities, or even bigger. Comets, on the other hand, will be quite different. They will have some rock and dust, but their main ingredient will be ice. And they spend a lot of their lives frozen out towards the edge of our solar system. But every now and then, their orbit will take them closer to the sun. They either sort of slingshot themselves through the middle of our solar system and they head back out into space, or sometimes they can crash into the sun and be completely destroyed. As a comet heads nearer to our sun, it will begin to heat up. A lot of the ice will turn into gas, and that gas, along with little bits of rock and dust, will streak behind the comet to form a tail. Now that tail can be up to 100 million miles long and is normally bright enough to be able to be seen from the Earth. Sometimes the Earth will travel through a trail of debris left behind by a comet, which means those little bits of rock and dust will begin to burn up in our atmosphere. So if you ever have a look at the night sky, if you see a shooting star or two, then they could once have been part of a comet. So now that we've covered the two bigger types of space rocks, it's now time to enter the tricky world of the little ones. Now, space rocks that are smaller than 10 meters across can have several different names, purely depending on where they are. Now, small space rocks that are actually in space, we call meteoroids. But as soon as that meteoroid enters the atmosphere of a planet or moon and it begins to burn up, then it becomes a meteor. The brighter meteors can then be called fireballs, and some fireballs can even explode in mid-air, and those exploding meteors we call bolides. Now normally meteors completely burn up during their descent through the atmosphere of a planet or moon, but if anything is left over, if there is something that hits the surface of a planet or moon, then that rock becomes a meteorite. So many different names for potentially the same rock. So now that we've sorted through all of these different types of space rocks, as promised earlier on, I'm going to give you one or two tips and tricks if you fancy foraging for your own space rocks in the future. Now, meteorites will be made out of iron, stone, or a combination of the two. Now the iron ones will be quite heavy, very dense, so even the little ones will be quite heavy to hold. A magnet will be handy if you have one, as the iron will be attracted to it. Some meteorite hunters have had meteorites literally leap out of the soil that they were looking in because they were using a strong magnet. Some meteorites may have strange dent-like markings on the surface, almost like you've pushed your thumb into a piece of Play-Doh. These are called regmaglypts, and they are formed by the weaker parts of the meteorite burning away as it travelled down through the atmosphere. Probably the best tip I can give you for hunting meteorites is to simply look at the colour. Meteorites will tend to be quite dark. They'll have a dark, almost blackened coating we call a fusion crust. And it can be dull or it can be shiny. But it got this by the meteorite heating up as it journeyed down through the atmosphere. It will look like someone's burnt it in an oven. And this can make it stand out from its surroundings. So have a look at the environment where you found the rock. Probably the best place to look for meteorites are pale environments, such as ones filled with sand or snow. So I would recommend a trip to either the Sahara Desert or Antarctica. Hey, I never said that looking for meteorites was going to be easy. So I hope you've become a little bit more excited about the world of space rocks, and good luck to anyone who goes hunting for them in the future. If you have enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. If you've got anything close to your heart that you would like me to talk about in the future, then please leave a suggestion down in the comments, and I hope to see you all in the next video.